listening to Speaking with One Voice with Rodney Payne. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, topics you'd like discussed on the show, or if you'd like to be a guest on the show, please email us at rpayne@onevoiceinc.org. That's rpayne@onevoiceinc.org. You can also search for us on Acast, Google Play, SoundCloud, and iTunes. Just look for Speaking with One Voice. Now, here's your host, Rodney.
Hello, and welcome to Speaking with One Voice. I am your host, the coach, Rodney Payne. I am so excited to be with you again this week here on Speaking with One Voice, your podcast devoted to you and your leadership team. We are looking to personally invest in you, develop you, and grow you as a leader. As always, I have to stop and say thank you so much. What am I thanking you for? Because you keep coming back. You keep consuming this content. And I want you to know, we love the fact that you're liking it. We want you to subscribe. We want you to turn your notifications on. And we want you to rate us and then interact. Send us a message, like our post, share our post so that we can continue to grow our footprint in this digital space. You can find us at rodneyrpayne.com for all of our information. You can also catch this podcast on our YouTube channel at Rodney R. Payne, YouTube at Rodney R. Payne. And there we want you to certainly turn on those notifications and subscribe so that we can continue to grow. We are experiencing great success and having great impact with leaders, and it's all because of you. So listen, it couldn't be done without you. This is my way of saying thank you. So make sure you're on our social media platforms as well. Keep those notifications on. Everything we're on is at Rodney R. Payne. So now we've got an event coming up. It's almost here. And listen, lean in. I want to talk to you some about this today, about unlocking yourself. But we have an opportunity coming up October 9th in Oklahoma City. It's Live to Lead Oklahoma City. We've got some phenomenal speakers who will be a part of our simulcast and in-person speakers that are going to add value to you and your leadership team. Go to rodneyrpayne.com/live to lead, LIVE number 2 lead OKC at the end of my rodneyrpayne.com. Go there. Tickets right now. This price won't be there in a few days. So you want to go today and get your tickets. They are $79 right now. There's also information. We need some sponsors to help us to bring you the best event possible. So I want you to go right now, rodneyrpayne.com/live to lead OKC, and get your tickets today. That's right. Now, listen. We don't have much time, so I want to dig into today's topic, and we really are going to challenge you today. I want to talk about the cost of staying stuck as a leader, the cost of staying stuck as a leader. One thing I've learned in my 3+ decades of leadership and leadership development and growth is that it's easy to plateau, reach a place where a leader gets stuck. You learn what you know, then you rinse and repeat, and you find success. But at some point on the journey, it seems like you're stuck, like you really can't move from where you are to where you want to be. As a matter of fact, it's even difficult for some of us to figure out where we actually want to go. When you get to a certain level of success, it's hard to determine what do I do next? What will fulfill me? What will excite me? I'm too young to retire. I have energy and I have something to give, but I just don't know what I want to do. So I want to talk about getting unstuck. When leaders get stuck, bad things happen. So the first thing you want to do, and I'm going to give you 5 keys today. Number 1 is understand when you're stuck as a leader, the outcome of that, or the output, if you will, it's decreased team morale and engagement. See, when leaders are stuck, team members find themselves mirroring that stagnation. So when you're stuck, it's not just you, but you also have a team following you that finds themselves stuck, so it becomes like an organizational stagnation. So what happens then when we're organizationally stagnant, then we find ourselves lacking motivation. We find ourselves struggling to find motivation. And when I'm stuck or I'm stagnant, I don't have motivation. The next thing you find is I don't have engagement. So this thing of being stuck, it can be a very expensive proposition for you, not just financially, but emotionally as well. I did some research, and in Gallup's State of the Global Workplace report, it revealed that only 20% of employees worldwide, globally, are engaged. And you know the old adage that 20% of the people do 80% of the work. So it makes sense, but what if you could move that needle by 10% or by 20% or by 50%? You can see that you could grow your business exponentially, but the challenge is that we're stuck. So we got to be real careful because when we're stuck and our morale is low, then our productivity goes down, and then guess what? We have increased turnover as a result. So what happens is, as a business, now you're spending money to turn people over, to rehire people, and you are really in a tough situation with your team. So we got to be careful not to get stuck because we don't want that low morale or low engagement. The second thing I want to tell you is that if we're stuck as a leader, what you're going to do is you're going to hinder your innovation and your creativity. I think these are underrated by many leaders because most leaders are not necessarily the creative type. They're strategic in their thinking, whereas creatives are more creative, but often less strategic in how they approach things. I know those are generalities, but just as an idea there. So when we think about this, when we think about being stuck, that stagnation, that means that we're not doing anything different. We're not doing anything new. We're not growing. And so it prevents us from even looking at new ideas or solutions. Well, I understand the old adage that says, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Well, sometimes you got to fix it before it breaks because once it breaks, you can't rebuild it. So you want to be on the creative side, on the innovation side, going into things. So when you look at this, leaders who resist change find themselves challenged by their team's potential to innovate. So we get afraid of job security. We have challenges because what happens is too many times leaders are threatened. Insecure leaders, rather, are threatened by someone else's ability to be creative and innovative. And what I found is that if we will work together in our best spaces, then the team wins. But we're not looking to compete with each other. We're looking to compete with our competitors. So by sharing and giving space for innovation and creativity, it's not a disadvantage, but rather it's an advantage. So make sure that you understand innovation is one of the key growth drivers that you can find out. I found that sourced in Ernst and Young. They told us about the 70%, 72% of executives really attribute their growth to innovation. Growth is not by doing the same thing the same way all the time forever, but at some point we have to get better. Not everyone is an inventor, but some people are able to take an invention and be innovative with the invention and make it better. And so, what we want to do is look to make things better. I think about it. Growing up in the country, you guys know I'm a country boy at heart. We would often have hot dogs. We had hot dogs in the time I grew up. It was just a couple of years ago, but then we had jars of mustard, jars of mustard, and you open the jar and you put the knife in and you get your mustard out. And in my lifetime, the little yellow bottle came to exist where you shake up the bottle and you squeeze the right line of just the right amount of mustard, stopping from having to wash dishes. No more knives, no more waste. It didn't invent mustard. The innovation was putting mustard in a dispenser that could be squeezed. I know it's a simple illustration, but the goal here is if you stay stuck, you could have something just that simple that could make time, save time, increase efficiency, and increase productivity. But we cannot be threatened by someone else's innovative abilities or their creative personalities. We have to use these things, team. We got to go. I'm calling you a team because I feel like we're on the same team. You have to use these things on your team to help your team to grow and to be better. Listen, you're listening to Speaking with One Voice with your host, Coach Rodney Payne. I'm so excited to be with you again this week here on Speaking with One Voice. Today, we are talking about the cost of staying stuck as a leader, the cost of staying stuck as a leader. And I've got a great opportunity for you coming up October 9th, right here in Oklahoma City. Live to Lead OKC, great speakers. It will help you get unstuck as a leader. Get your tickets today at rodneyrpayne.com/live to lead OKC. Let's hop into our next point here. Now we're going to get into some things that are going to not only resonate with us, but quite frankly, it's one of our more challenging things that leaders face. And when we get caught in this stuck position, one of the most significant costs we can experience as a leader when we get stuck is losing our top talent. You can lose your top talent. Understand, talent is hard to find. And so it's easier to retain good talent than it is to find good talent. Most of the time, when you get talent, a lot of times you've developed them to get them to a place of good talent. But high performing employees, they thrive in environments that are dynamic, that there's movement, that there's innovation, that there's creativity. So when a place is stuck, when there's stagnation, your high performers lose interest very quickly. So I want us to understand that if we look at this, when leaders remain stagnant, you literally run the risk of losing, alienating, pushing away your top talent, because your top talent, your best talent, is always growth talent. They are always looking and seeking to grow. You don't have to motivate them to do the job today, because they're not looking at today's job. They're looking at tomorrow's job. And so what happens is, when we lose a top talent employee, we got to go out and find another one. And rarely do we find one like we had, right? So what happens is, when they leave, it's very costly when you lose through attrition, and not only that. Think about, they leave, right? Your business now has a void because they were a top producer. Well, think about how much they knew about your brand, how well they understood how to navigate the internal workings of the business, how well they knew the client base, and how well the client base knew them. In one fell swoop, they're gone. They're not there. Now you've got to find a way to fill that void. How much time will it take you? How much will it cost you? People stay longer at companies, at brands, on teams where there is an investment made in their career. We used to call them benefits and bonuses and total compensation. If you don't have a continuing education package, if you don't have some type of ongoing training, if you don't have things that allow your people to grow and see that we're a growing place of business, you will lose, not because of your annual salary, but because of the benefits that come with it. It used to be that if you had health insurance, you had a job with health insurance, you were great. But now when you find top talent, they are looking for perks. They're looking for bonuses. They're looking for profit sharing. They're looking for an opportunity to grow academically and professionally. They're looking for conferences and workshops, etc. So if you're stuck as a leader, you're putting yourself in a dangerous position where you're going to lose your top talent. Try and quantify that for a moment. Say you have a team member, top performing team member, and let's just say they make $200,000 a year, just nice round numbers. They make $200,000 a year. Let's say that $200,000 a year that you pay them represents 5 to 10 million in revenue. Okay, now you got to replace them. They're not your average team member. They're not your median team member. This is your top performer. So when they're gone, it would take 2 or 3 people to produce what they produce. But what's the time, the recovery time, from when they go to when you get back up to speed to replace what left out the door with them? Are you seeing our time cost now? So we've got a dollar cost, we got a time cost. So would it have been better to have paid them more money, or to offer them growth opportunities so that they know you're not stagnant, to include their ideas, to help them to begin leveraging their insights and their intelligence in other ways? It's so important that you invest in and keep your top talent, because it will cost you so much more in lost revenue, in onboarding and bringing up to speed cost. So you go from an employee that may take you 18 to 24 months to even begin making their annual salary contribution to the bottom line. So you want to make sure that you're very, very careful, as we don't want to lose our top talent. Number 4 on the list is, when you're stuck as a leader, the cost you're going to pay is you are going to pay this whole process called communication. So let me think about this. What happens when you look at this? You're going to have increased organizational silos. So what happens is, when you get stuck as a leader, you begin to create these little silos, these little pods of leadership and teams within your company that are not connected, that are not on the same page. So when that happens, that deeply impacts and affects your communication. So now you have an environment where no one wants to communicate. And so now when there's not communication, I go to my people who tell me stuff and they go to their people who tell them stuff. But the problem is, if nobody's saying the same thing, now you're stuck and you got a bunch of little pods in the business, but they're not promoting the business. So what ends up happening is fragmentation. You have a fragmented business, and there's no way your business can be fragmented without having a disruption in workflow. There's no way. I know that many times we get caught with who's supposed to do what and why they did it, and we have to do things in triplicate or if 5 times over, and it can't move until I move. That's why we get workflow systems. Workflow systems can shorten that path by putting everybody on the same page and know where everyone is and hold everyone accountable. But if you are going to be stuck as a leader, you're going to not only you're going to create these silos, but you're going to encourage them. And nobody wants that. When you encourage silos, you're basically encouraging create a barrier so we can't be together. Make sure that we don't solve problems together. Make sure that we don't leverage the intelligence that we have in our community for everybody. Make sure that we don't ever have a common goal. That's what happens in a stuck leadership environment, my friends. And I want you to make sure that you understand that when you have a team that cannot and will not or chooses not to collaborate, go back and make sure that you are unstuck. No one wants to be like the car that has the 2 tires and the rear axle on a rear wheel drive vehicle stuck in the mud. You're pushing the gas as hard as you can. You're working the engine as hard as you can, but you're not getting anywhere. Silos kill businesses. Silos kill businesses. Fragmentation, it creates a disruption. Fragmentation comes from lack of communication. Oh, my friends, I want you to get this because there's a cost to staying stuck as a leader. And let me see if I could share one more thought with you real quickly. I want to talk about, we've talked about one that's significant for me is obviously you got to retain your people. But if you're going to stay stuck as a leader, you're going to have stagnant revenue growth. That's a fancy way of saying you will not make any money. You will keep doing what you've been doing, and then erosion will set in. So organizations that are led by stagnant leaders are really positioning themselves to see a diminishing return, not status quo. See, when you fail to adapt, you miss out on new market opportunities. We have to be willing to not change for the sake of change, not be adaptable just to be amenable, but really what we want to do is we want to make sure that as we're growing our brand, as we're growing our business, that we are willing to be nimble, that we are willing to grow, and that we are open to innovation and creativity. It doesn't mean we're always moving, because I believe you have to get not good at something, but great at something and do it very well. And then when you do it very, very well and you're excellent, learn to do it better and make sure it remains relevant. But this happens when you're not stuck. When you're not stuck, okay? There are very few businesses that have one thing and that's all they have, and they never grow beyond that one thing. There are some brands, this is all we do, and I get it. But as a leader, if you want to retain your top talent, you can't be stagnant. If you want to continue to grow your revenue and not just sustain your revenue or even begin to erode your revenue, you're going to have to learn how to do it, my friend. You have to learn how to be innovative and grow and make sure you're not stagnant. See, as leaders, it's up to us. Take it into your own hands. You must be willing to evolve, my friend. If you're unwilling to evolve, there's no way you will have sustained growth and profitability. In the space that I work in today, what I did 10 years ago is archaic. It would not work in any way, shape, form, or fashion. And I am much of a dinosaur. I am old school if I'm anything. But we've had to learn to be adaptable. We've had to learn to get out of the stagnation, and we can't wait until everything works out. I remember, I'll date myself, but I remember when online banking first came on the scene, when you could literally do everything online. I worked in banking and finance for over 25 years. And so I remember that there was this major phobia of data breaches and information leaking and And so if you put your stuff out there, people could steal it. And yes, we have hackers, and yes, information is stolen. But my realization was that my information was out there anyway because it was on someone else's server. So when I understood that, I decided that it's okay for me to bank online because my information is out there in some way. Hopefully it's protected. Hopefully it's encrypted. And we want to do safe practices. But I was still writing checks. I was still licking stamps. Come on. I didn't even have self-adhesive stamps. I'm licking stamps to pay bills and putting them in the mail. And that's how it went, and had a check, and things changed. Now I have to go to the bank to get a temporary check to have a check. Why? Because the systems have evolved, my friends. What I'm telling you is that if you want to continue to grow, you've got to go with the systems. And let me just say this as a caveat here. AI is here. It's not only here to stay, it's here to grow. So you have to learn how to leverage AI and how to grow into AI, but you can't depend on AI, right? So how do I leverage it without depending on it? Because you as a leader, my friend, AI cannot replace you. AI cannot. Why? Because you can deliver on what you're leading because you are a great leader. It's not theory. You are dealing with people. You are not dealing with a machine. So I want you to know I believe in you and you can get this done. So listen, real quickly, let me recap this for you. I want you to get this. The cost of staying stuck as a leader is you'll find yourself with decreased team morale and engagement. You'll find yourself hindering innovation and creativity, which shows up in your business. You'll find yourself losing top talent, and you'll find yourself with increased organizational silos. And then you'll find yourself with stagnant revenue growth. My goodness, you've been listening to Speak with One Voice with your host, Coach Rodney Payne. Thank you for being in the room today. I'm just so excited. Listen, if you're concerned about being stuck as a leader, let me help you. On October 9th, I can help you. It can change everything for you and your team by getting you completely unstuck. You can do it. We're having Live to Lead Oklahoma City. I've told you about this already. October 9th. Tickets are on sale right now. Early bird special is $79. It will not stay there. It's going to go up, but make sure you get yours today by going to rodneyrpayne.com/live to lead Oklahoma City. This transformational leadership event is going to change everything about you. I'm telling you, it's going to help you to reach your full potential. It's going to bring together some of the most influential and powerful thought leaders and some of the most entertaining, inspirational, motivational talks that will leave you able to start with a plan. You will have things you can use that very same day that will help you to grow not only professionally, but it's going to help you to grow personally. So it doesn't matter where you are in your leadership journey, whether you're a seasoned leader or whether you're a new leader, whether you're an emerging leader, or whether you're just a potential leader. I don't want you to miss out on the opportunity to elevate your leadership skills. That's Live to Lead, October 9th, 2025, Oklahoma City. Information and tickets, rodneyrpayne.com/live to lead. Listen, that is all from my time. I want to thank you for investing in yourself by learning the cost of staying stuck as a leader. And I want you to take action today. Take action. Look at which one of these you can apply today to make sure that you don't get stuck in the mud. As always, it has been my pleasure to share with you today. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for following us on social media, liking and subscribing to our podcast on our various platforms, as well as getting the video version on YouTube at Rodney R. Payne. Listen, I am your host, the coach, Rodney Payne. Until next time, my friends, let's keep growing together.
You've been listening to Speaking with One Voice. Please remember to follow Rodney Payne on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Rodney R. Payne. We'd love to hear from you and get your feedback, so please feel free to leave us comments. And if you would, rate and subscribe to the podcast, we'd appreciate that as well. Don't forget to set up for notifications so you can get the latest updates and social media posts and get new podcasts when they're released. As always, use the hashtag Speaking with One Voice or simply SWOV on any of your social media posts. On behalf of Rodney Payne, thanks again for listening to Speaking